Now, from the Action 4 studios, sports director Clay Williams and Joe Bowling bring you the best in Valley High School football from the week past and for the week ahead. Highlights, analysis, and predictions from all across the Valley. It's time for Sunday Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome to Sunday Sports Extra. Week 4 is done. Week 5 is upon us. That means we are in the midpoint of the high school football season. Hard to believe that we've already come this far, but we are here, and we're going to talk about everything that's come before and is coming this next week. Joe Bowling is here as always, and joining us this week, Dennis Silva from The Monitor and RGVSports.com. Thanks so much for joining us, Dennis.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Well, you bet. Let's talk about your beat, which is 32-4A. They got underway today, and they got underway with 3 big games, including what might have been the biggest. Mission Veterans at Mercedes. This one was a score fest. It was great, and it was always exciting. Right there, when Gilbert Vela takes it in, Mercedes had a big lead, but Santos Villarreal led Mission Veterans Patriots all the way back. That's one of 3 touchdowns to Isaac Guerrero right there. This was a tough game, but in the end, Mercedes held tough. Their defense was able to stop Mission Veterans at the end of the game, and Mercedes gets the win 34-27. Afterwards, a very happy and very relieved Coach Mike Uribe.
It was a great game between 2 great ball clubs. It was down to the wire, and we knew their coaching abilities and their kids' abilities, so we're just glad we came out on top with our first district win. But we've had a long history of great games with this team, and we're just real proud of our kids and want to compliment them and their staff for their job tonight.
So Mercedes comes out with a win. They start 1-0 in district against a very tough Mission Veterans team. What did you learn about the Tigers and the Patriots from this game, and how do they stack up in the district so far, Dennis?
Well, the Tigers, that defense is really something else. And I thought with the new offense, the trade formation they call with the 3 backs, I mean, you just got Isaiah Garza at quarterback, Matthew Guzman tailback, and Gilbert Vela who can pass out of the backfield. That's just a pretty hard offense to stop. And with Mission Veterans, I think you learned they're never out of ball game with that offense, especially Santos Villarreal. And just imagine that kid has another 2 more years at varsity. It's amazing to see what he's going to be doing in the future.
Yeah, and like you said, that 1-2-3 punch that the Tigers have is pretty incredible. When any 2 of the 3 could run for 100 yards. This past week, it was the quarterback and Gilbert Vela who ran for 100 yards. No, I'm sorry, it was actually Guzman and the quarterback who ran for 100 yards apiece. But easily, it could be any of them, Joe. That's tough offense to stop.
Yeah, and we've talked about that with some other football teams thus far in the Valley, that when they get 1 or 2 guys that are competing for spots, and that when they want to touch the football more, they have to produce more, and now they are. It just makes for a higher level offense, was what they're doing.
The other 32-4A game that you were at, Joe, was Mission Valley View. They both came in undefeated, but at the end, it was Mission who came out on top. They dominated this game. Joe, how good is this Mission team? Was Valley View overrated, or is Mission just that good?
Well, Mission's defense is outstanding. Okay, they came in and set the tone in this football game early. Was it deer in the headlights? I used that phrase a couple of times for the Valley View Tigers because they were in uncharted waters coming into that game. But again, Mission clicking on all cylinders, and their defense just didn't back up. They went in, they shut down what was a good running game, and they eliminated any need for a passing game. Mission is a really tough defensive team.
I'll tell you what surprised me on offense. I mean, that Gary Lauer offensive coordinator thing is starting to work. Juan Rios passed for almost 200 yards in that game, Dennis, and they've scored points in 2 straight games. I'm starting to become a believer in the Eagles' offense.
Yeah, I think we saw that at the end of the game against Tulsa Midway when they kind of opened it up a little bit. They had their backs against the wall. They needed to do something, and you saw the offense kind of air it out a bit more. And talking to Coach Mario Pena, he said they were going to do more of that. And when you can throw the ball and run the ball like they do, and with that defense, you get behind against Mission, and it's pretty much game over.
There was another undefeated 4A team playing this past week, and that was Roma. They were at Ed Couchelsa, and of course, all the distractions around the Yellow Jackets with the DEC ruling and appealing it to state, it didn't seem to bother the Jackets at all. Noe Gonzalez had a terrific game at quarterback for Ed Couchelsa. The defense was spot on, stopping Roma, holding their great running back, Orly Rios, to under 150 yards, which, by the way, is something nobody else has been able to do. So Ed Couchelsa looking very good in this game. Now they're going to take on Mission this next week, Dennis. And your thoughts on what Ed Couchelsa was able to do, giving Roma their first loss, and what they faced this week?
Well, they had a tough non-district slate. They had played all 5A teams, went 2-1 against them. I think against Laredo Alexander, we kind of saw them come into their own. The defense, that's a tough Alexander offense, and for them to play defense like the way they did then was pretty nice to see. And they're playing with a huge chip on their shoulder. You can tell these kids, they feel like their backs are against the wall. It's us against the world type thing, and you can see it with the way they play. They're taking every game as if it's a playoff game at this point.
Does it matter if Eric Morales is in at quarterback, or can this team play against Michigan? Can they beat Michigan? And go ahead and give us your pick after you give that opinion.
It always matters if you can have a starting quarterback in there, but I think Noe Gonzalez has really come around and he's starting to get more comfortable out there. It's taken a while, but again, he's played some tough teams. I think people need to realize how tough competition they've played so far. And once they get Eric Morales back, they'll just be that much more dangerous.
Who's your pick?
I'm going with, I'll go with Ed Couch.
All right, your thoughts on this one, Joe?
Well, my thoughts are the Michigan defense is really, really good. Now, I watched the Wesco team play, which makes that Ed Couch team even more impressive that they beat that team. But, again, I'm going to go with Michigan just because of the defense. I think that they're really good, folks.
All right, well, I'm going to go with Ed Couch-Elsa on this one as well. That defense of Ed Couch-Elsa's is they make plays, and they can take the ball away. We'll see what Juan Rios is able to do against that team. It should be good, but we're not done talking about Ed Couch-Elsa when we come on back on Sunday Sports Extra. We're not just going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the big upsets that happened this past week in 31-5A, including the Road Warriors coming back and throwing a little razzle-dazzle at San Benito. Plus, we are talking about the DEC ruling. We're talking about Gene Garza bringing the accusations. We're going to talk about what we expect at state. It's all when we come back.